The first paper we published on using antioxidant to block the radiofrequency effect of DNA damage was done in 1994 and published in 1995. And we actually use more specific compounds, so-called spin track compounds, which is more potent than vitamin C and vitamin E. Now, are there publications that show that free radicals are formed or increase in free radical activity in cells after exposure to radiofrequency radiation? Yes, there are quite a lot of papers published. Actually, I have not, it was too late and I could not finish all the paper that show that radiofrequency fields enhance free radical activities. And in that sense, it will, when you increase free radical activity, you induce free oxidative stress and damage that Martin talked about earlier. So what are the possible consequences of free radical formation or increase in fact free radical activities in cells? Of course, these are very active compounds that can cause molecular damages inside cells. For example, one is DNA damage, protein damage, or another thing is lipid damage of lipids, cell membrane lipids, which is, can cause the cell to die. So the consequences, as I mentioned earlier, is that one possibility is it can cause cancer because of mutation, formation of mutation in cells. Now, in order to have cancer, the mutation has to be very specific on a certain part of the gene. And a lot of our genes are actually useless. They're not doing anything. So cancer is not always happening with mutation. So it has to be damaged at a certain point. And some people even propose that you need at least 2 critical damages in order to trigger cancer. So cancer is a possibility. And other possibilities that since you damage the DNA in the cell or protein in the cell, the function will change with this kind of damage. And there are also reports, a list of reports on electrophysiological changes and functions, behavior of humans after exposure to radiofrequency fields from cell phones. So it's quite a lot of studies. The first study was one Kissing, 1995, look at the EEG study. Electroencephalogram, the firing of nerve cells in the brain. Another possibility is cell death. So if you have a lot of damage to the DNA, the protein, lipid, the cell die, and we found that apoptosis, which is a form of cell death that can occur after exposure to cell phone radiofrequency radiation. So are there reports on cell death and change in morphology? Yeah, of course. Because Dr. Selford is sitting here, and Henrietta Libby. So these are the morphological changes. Now, what are the consequences of cell death in the brain? And of course, neurons cannot be, the nerve cells cannot be replaced. And one possibility is neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's disease. Now, we don't have any evidence on that yet. There are some evidence with the extremely low frequency field, 60 cycle, 50 cycle fields. As we mentioned earlier, that there's a very good similarity between radiofrequency field and extremely low frequency field. And we know a lot more about extremely low 60 cycle field than radio frequency field, because we had this NIH EHS EMF rapid program that Chris Portier was in charge in the last, I think, the 1990s. Now, so that's another thing that I think could be interesting, is that this kind of changes can, depending on how much damage you accumulate over time, you can cause change in, you can cause cancer, you can also cause cell death. Now, can these two balance out? When a cell is beginning to become cancerous, can the radiation push it and kill it, kill the cell? So in that sense, when we are running an experiment, there's a possibility that you can actually see a decrease in cancer occurrence because the cell die before they become cancerous. And since there was no funding on the health effects of radio frequency field, I have switched to cancer research on using radio frequency and EMF, actually electromagnetic field. And one of the things we found out is that cancer cells are more susceptible to extremely low frequency field and 20 kilohertz fields than normal cells. So there's a possibility that a large use of cell phone can actually prevent the cancer from developing. I think that's all I want to say. Before Dr. Selford start, I want to mention one thing. You may notice that we are wearing the same tie and also a veil. So the fact is that we attended the same high school, and this is our school tie. Yeah.